Hello, everyone. So it's Ch.9 here. I'm here to do a Chapter 3 exam review with you guys. I'm going to be going over chapters 9, 10, 11, and 12. And in this video, I'll be reading off the questions to you. And then after I read off of those questions, I'm going to give you a time to respond. And then I'm going to answer that question. Or moving on to the next question. So I'll ask you the question, I'll give you time to respond, and then I'll answer that question, and then move on to the next question. And when we're done with the chapter, I'll play some music, and that will be a time for you to just kind of take a breath, maybe count to 10, and then we'll get on to the next chapter. Okay? So I'm going to start with 9, then I'll go to 10, then 11, then 12. So 4 chapters, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, well, let's get started with chapter 9. What methods are used to improve voter turnout? Absentee ballot by mail and internet. Voting elections. In 2000, who was the presidential candidate and how many electoral colleges? Bush and Dick Cheney. 5 electoral colleges. In 2004, who was the presidential candidate and how many electoral colleges? Bush and Dick Cheney. 34 electoral colleges. In 2008, who was the presidential candidates and how many electoral colleges? Obama and Biden. 192 electoral colleges. In 2012, who was the presidential candidates and how many electoral colleges? Obama and Biden. 126 electoral colleges. In 2016, who was the presidential candidates and how many electoral colleges? Trump and Mike Pence. 77 electoral colleges. List and describe why people don't vote. Rational ignorance. People don't believe their vote matters. Polls not open long enough. 7 to 8 p.m. Hard to find time. Complicated procedures. Have to register with the city clerk. What 5 presidents received the less popular votes but still became president? Number 1, John Quincy Adams. Number 2, Rutherford Hayes. Number 3, Benjamin Harrison. Number 4, George W. Bush. Number 5, Donald Trump. Money spent on presidential campaign in 2004. $760 million. Money spent on presidential campaign in 2008. $1 billion. Money spent on presidential campaign in 2012. $2 billion. Money spent on presidential campaign in 2016. $2 billion. What is negative campaign tactics? Negative approaches used to attack your opponent. Qualifications to run for political office. President. Age. $35. President. Citizen requirement. Natural citizen. President. Resident requirement. 14 years. Senator. Age. 30. Senator. Citizen requirement. 9 years. Senator resident requirement. 6 months. Representative age. 25. Representative citizen requirement. 7 years. Representative resident requirement. 6 months. What happens if no candidate receives 270 electoral college votes? The House of Representatives chooses the president, and the Senate chooses the vice president. What is the Corrupt Practice Act? The first attempt to regulate campaign finance. What is a canvassing board? There to validate the outcome of the election. Describe the job by campaign manager. A, sets up the office. B, hires staff. C, file legal documents. Describe the stages for running for president. Primary and caucuses meeting completed between January and May. Then you have the convention. Finally, the general election in November. First Tuesday. Choose candidate. Describe the job by press secretary. A. Prepare daily press statements. B. Sets up candidate interviews and news conferences. C. Arrange TV commercials. D. Stage campaign events. What did Article 2, Section 1 do? Created the electoral system. What did the 12th Amendment do? Clarified the process of the electoral system. Describe the importance of Super Tuesday. Many people have primaries on the same day. Choose elect candidate. Describe the job by political consultant. A. Raise money. B. Find ways to spend money. C. Conduct voter polls. The chapter is complete. All right, so now we are ready for the next chapter, Chapter 10. What were the original 4 TV networks between 1928 to 1944? GE, CBS, NBC, and ABC. What book did Upton Sinclair write in 1906? The jungle. What is Amber Alert? America's Missing Broadcasting Emergency Response. Describe the role media advertising has had on the newspaper industry and on the political system. The growth of advertising reduced the cost by subsidizing the cost of the paper and increasing the number of pages per issue. What is muckraking and who created the term? The exposure of the abuse of power and corruption in America, political and business life, to uncover dirt, created in 1906 by Theodore Roosevelt. What are the top 3 newspapers in the country based on circulation figures? USA Today, Wall Street Journal, New York Times. Who was involved in the first TV presidential debate? Kennedy and Nixon. What did NBC Radio do in 1926? Was the first nationwide radio broadcast? What did KDKA do in 1920? Was the first radio station to cover a major political event? What is the yellow journalism? Increased sensationalism, lying, and exaggeration. Associated Press, what did it do? First nationwide network in 1848. Telegraph impact on media. Greater access to news. Identify and describe 6 functions of the media. Entertainment, keeps them in business. Reporting the news, low ratings, lose money. Identifying public problems, investigate, uncover wrongdoings. Socializing new generations, influences our beliefs. Providing a political forum for the country, a way to get the message out, also newsletters and ads. Making money profits, TV, Nelson rating, radio, Arbitron rating. What is the Children's Television Act? TV stations must provide 3 hours per week of educational programming to children between the ages of 3 to 11 years old in order to keep their broadcast license. What is a soundbite? Events that are aired and videotaped. Monitor general symbolic statements like potato, P-A-T-A-T-O, versus potato, P-O-T-A-T-O. What is Watergate? A political scandal that led to Nixon's resigning from office. What is the criteria for selecting news stories? Stories involving children, Amber Alert. Good pictures, involves violence, disaster, or war. Politicians, celebrities, mostly bad, Justin Bieber. Deals with local events. Describe the 4 C-SPAN channels. (1979) C-SPAN 1, House of Representatives. 1986 C-SPAN 2, Senate. 2001 C-SPAN 3, Live Events and Historical Broadcast. 2005 C-SPAN 4, Best Bits of 1, 2, and 3. What was the Checkers speech? Richard Nixon's speech after his 1952 Senate campaign. Nixon responds to attack for accepting money. Who was Edward Noble? An NBC Blue Network to Lifesaver King, who created American Broadcasting Company, ABC. Who were the 2 main people on conservative radio today? Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity. What did 1930s fireside chats by Franklin D. Roosevelt do? Sold New Deal programs to Congress and the people. Describe the purpose of political debates. Structure traditional procedure in which journalist takes turns asking candidates questions. Consists of a single moderator to call on members of a citizen and audience to ask questions directly to the candidates. What is the purpose of Federal Communication Commission, FCC? Designed by the government to regulate broadcast media, TV, radio, and printed media. What is the equal time rule? States that if a radio or television station gives time to one candidate or political party, the station must provide equal time for the other candidates in the election for a particular office. What is the personal attack rule? Allows individuals and groups airtime to reply to attacks that previously had been aired. What is the Nelson rating system? A TV money-making profit made in advertising. What is the Arbitron rating system? A radio money-making profit that costs $1 per week diary. High-speed rotary press impact on media. Reduce the cost per media. All right. Now it's time for chapter 11. Perks and privileges. Congress. What's the salary? In 2009, $174,000. Speaker of the House, what's the salary? In 2009, $212,100. House and Senate, what's the salary? In 2009, $183,500. What are other privileges? Pension at 50 to 20 years service. Pension at age 60, 10-year service. Pension at 62, 5 years of service. Healthcare, $25,000 per member. 6 free parking spots in Washington, D.C. Travel, underground subway. What is the 17th Amendment? Was established in 1913. People would elect the U.S. senators, not the state legislator. What is franking privilege? Refers to privilege of sending mail without payment of postage. What is the congressional record? A daily publication of the proceedings of the goings on in the House and the Senate data. Reynolds versus Sims. Third case, state legislator must be equal and drawn fairly. Westbury versus Sanders. Second case, one person, one vote, concept, $70,000 per rep, applied to Congress, redrawn every 10 years. Baker versus Carr. First case, determined that apportionment is reviewable, constitutional. Define male apportionment. Districts not equally drawn. Define apportionment. Districts drawn equally. Define gerrymandering. Drawing district lines to benefit one party of majority group race. States often engage in gerrymandering. Describe the role of incumbency in campaigns. What are the 3 advantages? There are 48 roles of incumbency. The 3 advantages are 1, in public eye, name recognition. 2, service to their districts, bring in money. And 3, more fundraising advantages, money from party. Senate leadership. Who are the current leaders? President of the Senate. Mike Pence. President pro tempore. Chuck Grassley. Majority floor leader. Mitch McConnell. Majority whip. John Thune. Minority floor leader. Chuck Sumner. Minority whip. Dick Durbin. House of Representative leaders. Who are the current leaders? Speaker of the House. Nancy Pelosi. Majority leader. Steny Hoyer. Majority whip. Jim Clyburn. Minority leader. Kevin McCarthy. Minority Whip. Steve Scalise. Describe how a bill becomes a law. Introduction stage. You write the bill. The co-sponsor signs the bill. Second stage, congressional record. The sponsor bill gets printed into an official legal document. Covers everything that happens in the House, covers everything that happens in the Senate. Daily digest, all activity of the bill. Bill goes to the committee port. The third stage, committee stage. Refer the bill to appropriate standing who will work on the bill. Then it goes to the fourth stage, committee report. Must be drafted by chairperson. Majority vote. Must agree. About 30 people. Then it goes to the fifth stage, floor stage. The bill goes to everyone in the House and Senate. Then it goes to the sixth stage, conference committee. Rewrites the bill. Then it goes to the seventh stage, president stage. Signs or veto the bill. List and describe 5 jobs of a congressperson. Number 1, lawmaking. Only 535 members creating laws to keep us safe. Number 2, representative function, such as trustee, instructed delegate, and political. Number 3, casework, solving problems, helping people every day, such as losing a social security check. Number 4, oversight, investigate the other branches of government. And number 5, public education function, franking privileges, get things mailed to you to inform you and educate you and encourage you. Standing committee. Permanent committee. House and Senate statistics and demographics. The House. How many districts? $14. House. How many year terms? 2. House. How many members? 435. House. Are there more or less rules? More. House. Is there limited or extended debate? Limited. What's the average campaign cost? $1.5 million. House. What's the average age? 57. Senate. How many districts? 1 whole state. Senate. How many year terms? 6. Senate. How many members? 2 per state. Senate. Are there more or less rules? Less. Senate. Is there limited or extended debate? Extended. Senate. What's the average campaign cost? $10 million. Senate. What's the average age? 63. All right, welcome back. So we are on our very last chapter, which is chapter 12. What is the presidential pay? $400,000 per year. What three presidents have been impeached? Andrew Johnson, Bill Clinton, and Donald Trump. What three presidents What are three informal powers of the president? Emergency powers, executive orders, executive privilege. What is the War Powers Act? President can only send forces for 60 days without congressional approval. What is the 22nd Amendment? Limits on a president to 2 4-year terms. What is the 25th Amendment? Relates to the presidential succession and disability. What is the impeachment process? The House has the power to impeach. Majority vote 218. Senate convicts 2/3 vote. Article 1 gives Congress the ability to remove the president or vice president from office for treason, bribery, high crimes and misdemeanors, obstruction, perjury, such as lying under oath. What is the job of the White House Chief of Staff? Organizes president's schedule, monitors the bureaucracy, and organizes staff. List and describe the 6 jobs of the president. Head of state serves as the country's official leader and spokesperson. Chief executive leader of the executive branch, commander-in-chief, head of the military, chief diplomat, sets the direction of the foreign policy, chief legislator, initiator of legislative agenda, political leader, leader of the political party. What is the purpose of the cabinet department? To advise the president of any subject he may require relating to the duties of each member's respective office. All right. All right, folks. So that completes our study session. So I just want to thank you all for spending time with me. We got through all 12 chapters. So we're done. So 9, 10, 11, and 12, we're finished here. So thank you so much for your time. I hope you all learned something today. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Good night.